Have you been thinking about moving away from New York City and just aren't quite sure where to go? Well, stick around and I'm going to tell you all about Easton, PA. Hi, New York. My name is Tara Roy and I'm a realtor in Easton, Pennsylvania. Each week I create and post new videos all about real estate and our community in the Lehigh Valley, which is where Easton is located. This week I'm dedicating my video to you, dear New Yorkers. You've had a rough start to this decade. Between COVID and civil unrest and over 8 million of you living on top of each other, you might be ready to get out of the city. You might be looking for your next place to live. That's why I want to take a few moments to tell you about Easton, PA. It's a great place to be, and it might just be the perfect next location for you to call home. Or maybe you're a steadfast New Yorker and you're like, I am never leaving this city ever. And I get it. The city is incredible and it always prevails. So if that's the case, maybe you know someone else who's ready to get the funk out. So be a pal and share this video with them, okay? Thanks. But in the future, if you're somewhat tempted to learn more about Easton and the Lehigh Valley, subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button down here on the right and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. And who knows, maybe someday I'll convince you to at least buy a weekend home here. So you might be wondering, what makes me, Tara Roy, an expert on moving from New York City to Easton? Well, for starters, I've helped lots of New Yorkers move to Pennsylvania, but I also used to be a New Yorker. Well, at least a temporary one. I lived in New York City for almost 10 years, and I thought I would never leave, especially after I experienced 9/11 firsthand just 2 months after I arrived from California. That was a horribly sad and trying time for the whole nation, but the love and humanity that I felt in New York City is something that I will never forget. It strongly bonded me to my new home. And my first 7 years were absolute bliss. New York City was home and New York City was perfect. It could do no wrong in my eyes. Crowded subways? I didn't care. What a lively way to commute. Long lines at the deli? Oh well, it was a great way to meet new people. I think New Yorkers are quite friendly and talkative. I used to be in the advertising technology industry and I used to have to travel a lot for business, going to see clients all over the country. And my husband and I also like to travel for pleasure, and we spent time in some incredible cities in many different countries. But no matter where I went and how wonderful or magnificent it was, I was always so happy to be home in my beloved New York City. Hooray! I must have gotten a 7-year itch because for the next several years, I honestly started to feel a bit cramped. All of a sudden, I would come home from trips and I would think, why is it so noisy? Why is there trash everywhere? Why are there so many people? It's so stinky. So much traffic. Get out of the way. I promise you, I never lost my love for New York City, but I really started to want to get out. And we lived in a beautiful 2-story brownstone in Park Slope. So as far as New York City goes, we had space. Our landlords were awesome. They rented their brownstone to us for well under market value because they just wanted to cover their mortgage and have some reliable tenants. Even still, by the time we paid rent and utilities, we were spending about $3,500 a month for rent. Now I know what you're thinking, a 2-story, 2-bedroom brownstone in Park Slope for only $3,500 a month? Tara, that was a steal. And yes, you're right, it was, but it was also almost a decade ago. And I know that rents in New York City have skyrocketed since then. In fact, I just looked on Zillow just for fun and I found a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment just 2 blocks from my old brownstone, and it is renting for $4,025 a month. What? Now that I live in Easton, that sounds pretty outrageous. Do you realize what kind of house you could get in Easton for $4,025 a month? It would blow your mind. So let's start right there as reason number 1 that you might want to move from New York City to Easton. You'd save a boatload of money on your cost of living. The last couple of years we were spending $3,500 a month on rent. I just got to thinking that in 1 year we were taking $42,000 and basically flushing it down the toilet. Aside from the incredible experience of just living there, we had absolutely nothing to show for it. No equity, just a worthless receipt that said we paid our rent. In Easton, in the Lehigh Valley as a whole, the average sales price of a home is just over $200,000. That's for a modest 3 to 4 bedroom, 1 to 2 bathroom home with a nice square footage and a yard and, some room between you and your neighbors. When we moved here, our monthly mortgage, including taxes and insurance, was less than half of what we paid to live in Brooklyn. So you could legit be living like a baller in Easton for a fraction of the price of living in New York City. Reason number 2 is the proximity of Easton to New York City. From Wall Street, Easton is pretty much a 75-mile straight shot west from New York City. You just have to go across New Jersey and we'll be the first city that you hit on Route 22 in Pennsylvania, just across the Delaware River. It's super easy to get here, which means it's super easy to get back. So tell your friends and family, don't worry, you'll be back to visit, and they can come here to visit too. Also, if you like to travel, it's worth noting that you'll have 3 international airports just about an hour from you: Philly, Newark, and Lehigh Valley International. We're very accessible to the rest of the world, leaving from and coming to the Easton area. Reason number 3, Easton is a commuter city. Say the only thing holding you back is that you love your New York City job and you don't want to leave it. Well, I completely understand that because when I moved here, I didn't want to leave my big advertising career behind either. Luckily, even 10 years ago, I guess because I was in a digital industry, I was able to make arrangements to work in the New York City office for 2 days a week and then work from my home office in Easton for 3 days a week. It was a perfect balance between city and country. I loved it. And I successfully worked that way for 7 years. The future is digital, and chances are you'll be able to make similar arrangements. If not, there's a local bus company called Transbridge that runs a commuter bus line to and from the city multiple times a day. Now, prior to COVID, there were more choices on the schedule, and I'm sure we'll eventually get back to that. But even still, there's at least 8 to 9 trips a day that you can catch going in either direction. And you can do that right from our convenient downtown Atlanta bus terminal or from a park and ride a little further west on William Penn Highway. The buses will take you straight to Port Authority or to Wall Street, depending on where you need to be. When I was still commuting, I met lots of people who took the bus to and from New York City every day, and they said it just becomes a way of life. The buses are comfy and they offer free Wi-Fi, so you can work or you can relax, maybe read a book, take a nap, play some Candy Crush. No matter what you do, you'll be there before you know it. Here's a reenactment of me riding the morning bus to the city. Yup, I was the girl cozied up with a blanket, a blow-up pillow, my headphones, and a sleep mask. Don't judge. Who doesn't want an extra hour and a half of sleep in the morning? Reason number 4, we have job opportunities in the Lehigh Valley. Maybe you don't have a job in New York City and you're looking for a new opportunity. Check out the job listings in the Lehigh Valley area. We have lots of good companies based in the valley, and therefore we have great job opportunities. Easton is the smallest city in the valley with a population of between 27 and 28,000 residents. But the Lehigh Valley as a whole has a population of over 840,000 people. So we have a giant healthcare network, lots of jobs in finance, retail, restaurants, manufacturing plants, offices, warehouses, grocery stores. The list goes on and on. There's lots of opportunity for jobs in the Lehigh Valley. Reason number 5, New York City is the Big Apple and Easton is the Little Apple. Really, I'm not just making that up. During the days of Prohibition, because of Easton's proximity to the Big Apple, it was nicknamed the Little Apple because it was just about an hour's train ride from New York City. And it had a thriving nightlife and plenty of booze. I guess they were a little lax with Prohibition raids in Easton. While for different reasons today, I still think the Little Apple suits Easton well for many reasons. For one, the architecture. Take a walk in downtown Easton and tell me it doesn't feel like you're in the West Village or a cute neighborhood in Brooklyn. Easton was established in 1752, so in our downtown area, we have a lot of the same look and feel as in various areas of New York City. And the dining and nightlife, well, it's still here. There's a plethora of restaurants as well as bars and nightclubs that you can go to in Easton as well as all over the Lehigh Valley. We still have booze aplenty, and there's delicious food from every culture. Grab a bite at Maxim's 22 on Northampton Street in Easton and tell me it doesn't feel like you're eating at a French bistro on Park Avenue. Have dinner at Three Oaks Steakhouse right off Center Square and tell me it doesn't have that swanky look and feel of Delmonico's. And there's many other examples like that in Easton. Another exciting thing is there's lots of people like you in Easton. I can think of dozens and dozens of people in our community who have lived in New York City at one point in their life. So you'll connect with a lot of people. You'll feel right at home. And I'm excited to say that we have city culture. From the longest continuously running outdoor farmers market, one to rival Union Square Farmers Market for sure, to antique shops, to small business boutiques, art galleries, and museums, we have everything that you have. It's just a little bit smaller. We're not an island, but just like you, we even have two rivers because it's in Easton where the Lehigh River flows into the Delaware River. Isn't that so pretty? New Yorkers, I have so much more to tell you about our sweet little apple of Easton, PA, but I couldn't possibly do it all in one sitting. So check back on my channel for more videos about Easton and the Lehigh Valley. And feel free to call me about real estate in the Lehigh Valley. I still have my 917 number just for you, and I would be happy to be your connection between New York City and Easton. Well, New York, thanks for watching. See you next time. If you have a real estate topic you'd like to learn more about, drop a note in the comments and I will be sure to answer your questions and perhaps even make a whole video just on your topic. See you next week, Lehigh Valley. Hey Tara, thanks for doing the New York City to Easton video. Forget about it.